Hello and welcome to another Company of Heroes 3 game. My name is Fancy Josh, and today I've got a 2v2 for you between KMZ Charlie as our Africa Corps. His teammate today is going to be Skeggi as the Wehrmacht. Their opponents are Brutarius as the US. His teammate is going to be Saba as the British. So all four armies represented today. Players throwing out their good luck, have funs. So the map today is going to be Campbell's Convoy. I think this is a really nice 2v2 map. It's kind of got this wide open center here that lets you pretty easily cooperate with your teammate. But then it's also kind of got this top section here that sort of isolates you from the center. So if you want to commit up there, you kind of have to really commit. Same principle applies down here. Just in general, they're really, the players want to be out on these outer rings, but that's really far from each other. So, see what our players have in store for us. First fight of the game here. Engineers coming to take this munitions point away. Our teal player seems to be ignoring the fuel point on the bottom side, which is a little surprising to see, instead prioritizing those munitions. Dingo helping out here after the Royal Engineers got suppressed. Gonna back off as that heavy machine gun sets up. Motorbike helping out here. Doing good damage against these scouts. These pioneers ought to make short work of them, especially with that vehicle buff they have. And our US player, purple here, has gone for the airborne battle group and opted for the heavy machine gun drop. We've not seen him use that in team games. You see a lot of folks just drop those in like deep into the center of the map, unsupported. So I'm a little surprised we're not seeing him do that, considering that's the choice he went for. But I suspect we'll start seeing him add on some heavy machine guns here shortly. Our Wehrmacht player has gone for the recon vehicle. These pioneers hiding away. Grenadiers here to support, though. Relatively quiet game on the top side. What I was going to say is our Wehrmacht player went for the recon vehicle. I feel like ultralight vehicles, other than the Dingo, are relatively uncommon in team games because I feel their strength lies in their ability to capture territory, as opposed to their ability to fight. As expected, our US player has dropped in a heavy machine gun here, helping his own forces out. Bike was trying to get in behind there, but not going to happen. Heavy machine guns gotta go, and these riflemen probably gotta go as well. Ooh, losing the heavy machine gun's pretty bad, though. Looks like he is going to take it back and then try to bail. Might make it this time. Gonna be really close. Yeah, they're gone. Yeah, unfortunate loss for our US player there. British player already opting for the recce package on his infantry section there, allowing him to call in an artillery barrage in this heavy machine gun, but unfortunately for him, the spread doesn't look very good. So it looks like our US player, or our British, which army is this? The Wehrmacht player is actually vetted up to Vet 1 as on his recon vehicle. So that's going to give him... Well, I guess I'm not sure what he wants to do with that. In any case, he has picked up communication cables. So that's going to give his captured places more vision. And of course, he's got that camouflage there, so. Just an interesting vehicle to see in a team game here. But it does look like our blue player has taken pretty significant losses to start this game. Likewise, our purple player has suffered some losses, in particular the heavy machine gun. So teal and red ought to be feeling pretty good on their respective sides of the map. That said, despite it seeming like our British players won his side of the map, I think he hasn't come away with the map control that you think he might deserve there. He is adding on an armored car now, so that's definitely going to help him out. Big push from the teal player. I do like this move by our British player, by the way. Stealing away this field point from his opponent is a great choice. Anytime you're denying your opponent's resources, it's good. In particular on this map, in any multiplayer game, denying even 1 point the effect is multiplied across multiple players, right? So by denying this fuel point, it's effectively 20 fuel per minute across the 2 players. So it is a substantial get. Big force here on the top side, gonna push away the US player here, but the armor car is here to help out. Looks like he's gonna eat an AT grenade for his trouble there. No problem, gonna back away there. British player being active on multiple areas of the map, really cool to see. I suspect that red and purple know each other. Generally on the ladder you don't see this level of cooperation. So it's kind of nice to see. That was a huge grenade from those Panzer Grenadiers, absolutely nuking the infantry section. So he's going to be on the retreat there for a minute. You know, after losing some forces early, our blue player is doing the right thing in my mind, which is to say he's adding on elite infantry as opposed to just re-adding grenadiers. I think elite infantry can take you a lot farther, especially in the late game. That said, our allies are being denied an absolute ton of fuel here. Panzerjägers in this mechanized call in here, gonna shred that armored car, or the dingo there, but didn't quite pick him up. Paratroopers for our US player going for bazookas right away. AI not wanting to fire there. A little unusual. And much like I like elite infantry for our German, I think elite infantry for our US player is a good choice. Elite infantry in general in team games I think is better. They have more health generally, they resist damage a little bit better in general. And anything that makes it easier for your units to survive, especially in the very vicious world that is team games of Company of Heroes, I think it's a good investment. So, did like the Teal's attempt to help out his teammate though. That was Teal's Panzerjägers coming down, help out there. Phosphorus rounds, absolutely shredding those riflemen. Both players pushing in here. Smoke grenade from the armored car. And German unable to stop this capture from happening. Teal player pushing really, really hard into the center here. So I know this looks pretty bad for our allies here, but I actually don't think it's that bad. They have control over all of their fuel points, and they actually have 2 of the victory points, so despite how aggressive our teal player is being, it's not actually amounting to any meaningful map control. I think in that situation I would have really liked to see our teal player send 1 squad to pick up the center victory point. He is sending some squads over here to capture from some territory for free, and I do like this, and I'd like to see that squad go even further. Red player spread out across this side here. Did purple take... No, purple didn't take heavy losses. Where are his... It's right now. I guess they're spread around. Yeah, looks like both the allies deciding to team up on one side. Our teal player's locked in the Panzerjäger battle group. He's gone for these minefields. So I'm hoping that if we'll look down on his side of the map, we'll see a ton of those S-mine fields set up. S-mines, of course, are extremely lethal against infantry. So at worst, you force your opponent to add minesweepers and get no kills, and at best, you kill several units before they add on minesweepers. See what our blue player is up to. Hasn't locked in his battle group yet. U.S. players continue down the airborne battle group tree. Has picked up the anti-tank gun drop as well as the smoke. And our British player has gone for the heavy armor battle group. So, gonna have that experience gain for his units. There are some I think that was an S mine. Oh, nice pickup on that squad there. Any wipes are good. German player pushing in here. Bringing all his might to bear at the same time. That's a lot more common in team games, right? It's easy to, you know, when you focus on the area that you need to focus on in a multiplayer game, in a team game, is smaller than the area you need to focus on in a 1v1, right? And I'd say that area gets smaller and smaller the longer the game goes. At least that's how people approach the game, right? In theory, you could spread your units all over the map, and your teammate could do the same, and you'd have the same amount of map coverage. My point is that our teal player's decision to group up as much as he is grouping up is not that big of a deal. Despite me complaining about that in 1v1s, I think it's less of a big deal in team games, assuming that you can get something done with the grouped up infantry. Nice grenade from those riflemen there. Nuking that heavy machine gun. There is a medical half-track there, going to help out. Grenadiers getting aggressive, pushing in close to deal maximum damage at their optimal range. British player continuing to fend off the teal player here on the bottom side. More call-ins for our US player. Can't tell what it is just yet. Looks like it's going to be an AT gun. And our allies have managed to secure this cutoff point. Excuse me, this fuel point here from their opponents. That's going to be a big boon to them. Teal player adding on indirect fire. I think indirect fire in general is very strong in multiplayer. I think a lot of players take that to the extreme in the form of multiple Stukas or multiple bishop artillery, you know, that sort of thing. But I would argue that even one mortar, even just one piece of indirect fire, big or small, is a great investment because of how entrenched multiplayer games tend to get, right? And just to give you a sense of what I'm talking about, well, okay, bad example. I love mortars. You can't tell me they're not good. What I really like about them is how little micro they require. They force your opponent to micro while you are free to do something else while your mortar fires, right? And that's on top of the damage that you're going to do and the utility that you get out of something like their smoke grenades, right? British player has added on a Crusader tank here. Crusader tanks, of course, very good in multiplayer, in team games as well as 1v1s. They're cheap. Ooh. Didn't see what that was going down, but doesn't seem to be. It's a nice pickup for our Germans, of course. US player has added on half tracks. This is so funny. Our purple player is on top side, like mostly, and our red player is on bottom side, despite their base positions being swapped. And I mean, clearly communicating about that, right? Like, it feels like these guys are in a Discord call together, so it's cool to see that level of teamwork. And if this is spontaneous, then, you know, color me surprised. So this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say mortars and indirect fire are really good, right? Imagine a mortar for either side helping out. And I guess our British player does have that indirect fire from his base, going to dislodge his opponent there. So lovely use there. Lovely use of that ability, going to end the stalemate. Big grenade coming out here. Not going to wipe the squad. Another AT. Oh, paratroopers dropped in there. US player has added on the 75mm for that AT capability, as well as mobility that he gets from that is pretty big. He also can barrage with it, of course. Haven't seen him do that. Wouldn't mind seeing him do that a little more. There he goes now. Not sure. Good hit there. Leading his opponent. So our blue player has locked in his battle group, going for the terror battle group. And prioritizing the left side of the tree a little bit. I think this propaganda leaf drop is really, really good. To deny an area to your opponent for, what is it, 20 seconds? Yeah, 20 seconds. So that's absolutely huge. We might see him go for the V1 rocket early, but typically players like to go for that King Tiger sooner rather than later. We'll see what he ends up wanting to do. Teal player pretty well and truly locking down that bottom side. He has all the tools he needs to deny this area to his opponent. The only way to dislodge something like that is a concerted push or indirect fire, neither of which look to be in the cards just yet. Both the allies hanging out together up there. Now, our Wehrmacht player has ticked up to the Panzer Company. So we might see some Panzer IVs from him in the near future. I think he's got a team composition that can support Panzer IVs. By the way, I love these mines. Not sure whose mines those are. Looks like they're the British player mines. Anytime you can put down mines, you know, if you find yourself storing up too many munitions, throw down some mines. It's a cheap and effective way to slow down your opponent's pushes. Make them think twice about moving in. AT gun might go down here. No big deal though. Oh, well, it is a big deal if these riflemen steal it. Didn't expect him to go for that. But the Wehrmacht player is here to make that stop happening. Remounting using his recrew weapon ability from that medical half-track to put two models onto the pack gun, but of course it got wiped immediately. Another grenade here looks like those engineers are gonna go down here. So that's 200 manpower out of our British player's pocket, immediately re-adding them to support his two Crusaders that he has right now. And you can tell there's action going on all over the place. And this is, I have keeping track of action between two players in a 1v1 when they're both high level is already hard enough. And when you add in two more players, it just gets so hectic to keep track of everything that's going on. So I apologize for missing some of the action here. What I'm trying to say is that our British player's been active with his Crusaders. Where's this barrage coming? Probably here. Kind of a wide spread, though. Is going to detonate one of those mines and get a good amount of damage, almost wiping those infantry there. Fortunately for our British player, those Grenadiers aren't super great at long range, so they're going to get out of there. Crusaders helping out here. Tank hunters, tank busters from our Teal player, upgrading them with a Panzerschreck. Panzerschreck going to miss. Tanks continuing to brawl here. And that was a flyover by our... What was that? That was a US flyover there. Oh, another call in heavy machine guns. More mines from both our US and our German, again slowing down this push into his territory, right? So despite losing that battle, Our allies are slowing down their opponents. Third Crusader on the field. For a British player, not uncommon to see that. Medium tank spam is definitely a viable strategy and is effective against even the largest tanks, assuming you can get in behind them.
The enemy has taken a victory point.
German players being very cautious, building 2 AT guns each. I actually love that idea. In my own team games, I try to build 2 AT guns because of just how many tanks there can be coming down into your face, so love that. We'll push here from our teal player, being pinned down by this heavy machine gun, but does look like he's going to be able to push the heavy machine gun back. Of course, there's more forces ready to go. Another barrage from our teal player. Getting some decent connections on his opponent there, driving him back a little bit. Sturmpanzer for our Wehrmacht player, though, to deal with the large amount of infantry he's facing down. Of course, these Crusaders can do a number on him if they get behind, but most of the shells should bounce right off the front of the armor, just like we saw there. Even bouncing off the side, including the half-track. Crusader trying to get in behind the Sturmpanzer, basically making him think twice about moving in there. AT guns returning the favor, though. Crusader going to have to back away. Black half-track sitting kind of far back here. Looks like it was scuffling with those anti-tank paratroopers there. Rifleman thinking about moving in. That might have been a misclick, that retreat there, or maybe he just didn't want to be surrounded. Crusaders are coming back in, looking like they want to get something done. And, you know, I'm just now... Oh, Crusaders got to get out of there. Might be dead. Yeah, looks like his attention was elsewhere. That's okay. When you're pushing yourself to be everywhere, you're going to make mistakes, and losses like that are inevitable, even at the highest level when both players are pushing each other to their max, right? I was going to say something, and it totally went right out of my head. German bulldozer added on, though, for our U.S. player. Again, to help deal with this infantry he's facing down. Tank busters spitting in its face and running away. They're going to make it no problem. Oh yeah, so what I was going to say is both teams have done a decent job of controlling the victory points, and strange, you know, oddly enough, our allies have been able to totally abandon this top side. There are literally no units in the area, and our Wehrmacht players just letting that happen. So in your team games, I recommend... So you don't have to... You do need to be being active with your squads, right? So I like that he's got a heavy machine gun locking down the center. These grenadiers probably don't need to hang out this close to the front. They could be looking to just explore into this territory, right? They could go see if there's any bad guys here. They could go see if there's any bad guys here. Now, of course, these Crusaders can respond rather quickly. But if the Crusaders are up top, they're not in your face in the middle, right? And that seems like a good thing to me. So, that may be a bad example. My point is, if you can get active with your units, even in team games, I recommend it. Engineers unfortunately going down, Pioneers unfortunately going down to their own mine there. Big concerted push by the Allies here, flanking with these Crusaders, getting in behind the AT guns. AT guns did reposition, though, but at the same time, the infantry is pushing in from the front. Did manage to wipe one of those AT guns. Sherman getting on top of this heavy machine gun to push it back and unsuppress his units here. Barrage coming out from our German player to try to slow down the push. Got a bunch of units off those heavy machine guns, but doesn't look like it's going to wipe. AT guns repositioning, but Crusaders overwhelming the position here. And that's probably a dead Sturmpanzer there. Nice pickup. One of the Crusaders did go down, but not before wiping that last AT. Panzer III on the field here is going to pick up another Crusader. So massive losses on both sides here. The Allies are going to come away with the victory point from the looks of it. Panzer III going a little too deep here. Looks like he lost track of that unit in the mayhem a little bit.
The enemy has claimed our sector.
Now, our Allies did win that fight pretty handily, and they do have control of this middle. That was a really nice push by them. We can see a walking barrage from our Stuka here. Not connecting with anybody from the looks of it. Maybe going to creep up there. He's going to get some good hits. British player did lose an infantry section just there. He is going to bail out. So what I'd love to see our Allies do here is wipe out all these AT guns. It looks like they either stole or wiped out the AT gun that was there. It's not that one. Looks like they may have wiped it out. Unless it's hiding in the fog of war here, which is actually I can check.
Pioneers standing by.
Yeah. In any case, that AT gun's gone, right? And that's what our Allies want. And I think they need to do the same thing to these AT guns, either steal them or destroy them, right? Further capitalize on their current position because they're not holding this territory. They are, technically, they control this territory, but they're not holding it, right? They don't have units in the area, so it could, you know, a German player can just easily walk in here, pick up the AT gun, and it's like nothing happened. Again, I'm oversimplifying. But Panzer IV on the field for a Wehrmacht player. I do like that our German players are grouping up. This heavy machine gun, feel like could be better placed, right? I mean, I guess he's going to bring up his infantry to support here. Little does he know that there's basically nothing happening up here. But he's going to find out soon enough, hopefully for him. Both teams kind of positioning around the middle. I'm going to speed up just a little bit while folks reorganize here. There's a tank moving on the left side. Looks like it's our... Oh, it's not a tank. That's the half-track. And this is what I'm talking about, right? He managed to recrew his AT gun. Another Panzer IV for a Wehrmacht player. Let's take a look at our... US player hasn't added on anything just yet. He does have this carpet bombing run, which we may have seen him use there. And looks like our field player is thinking about going for the Elephant Tank Destroyer. That's not a unit you see super often in general. I actually think this is a really good map for it because of just how open the middle is, right? So if you can spot for that unit, it can shoot a crazy long distance. AT gun tinking away at this Sherman leading the charge, though. Lovely to see. There might be a barrage coming down here. Looks like it was just a recce call-in by those infantry sections. All these light vehicles fleeing for their lives. Gonna have nowhere to go, though. Fortunately for them, this Sherman is not very effective against moving targets of any kind. Infantry section may pick up this mortar here. He's gonna get it. German player pushing in here. This infantry trying to slow it down. Panzer IV is on the scene though, trying to help out. Bazooka squad blasting these Panzer IVs, getting some good penetrations, destroying this fuel cache. Our German there. Crusaders looking to get involved, are going to pick up this flak half-track, no problem. Actually hitting his own unit there, that was crazy. I don't know if I've seen that before. Panzer IVs are going to get the Sherman on its way out. Crusaders may have something to say about that. Bouncing off the side armor there. Is going to pick up that unit, nicely done. He is boosting those Crusaders with the heroic charge. You can see that massive movement speed bonus, as well as their fire rate. That buff has worn off, though, and it looks like he's not willing to chase into all those AT grenades, which I think is a good choice, especially with that high veterancy Crusader. I think that Crusader survived 2 of the battles so far. I'm understanding the situation correctly. Barrage going to come out from our 75mm. You know, it's unusual to see... There's nothing necessarily wrong with this, but our US player has not disabled the... He has not enabled the focus vehicles, right? So this unit is going to shoot at anything. I posted a game recently. It might have actually come out today on YouTube. Well, my today, not your today. Where a player had a half-track and he shot at an infantry and he hit him and killed him, and it was crazy because that almost never happens. And you know, so it can happen that your 75mm gets a kill on infantry, but I think it's very uncommon, and you would much rather have your half-tracks firing at vehicles. Of course, if there's nothing else wrong, there's nothing wrong with it, but flipping back and forth this ability, remembering to do that in the heat of the moment, is not something that I think you should spend your micro on. So that's just my 2 cents. Probably won't end up mattering in this game. I was gonna say, but he fixed it, is that he needed to pick his level 1 veterancy bonus. That's easy to forget to do, right? You're, again, caught up in the heat of things, and you forget as the U.S. Army that you need to upgrade. You gotta make a choice on your veterancy 1 upgrade. So he did end up choosing the first strike. Another bulldozer Sherman from our U.S. player. Elephant is on the field for our teal player. And it looks like our Germans may want to do a push here. Red player is up to 3 Crusaders now. Okay, of course 3 Crusaders can do a number on an Elephant tank destroyer. Panzer IV unsupported here in the middle, might go down to these AT guns. Nice pickup for our allies there. Gotta be super careful with your vehicles. It's okay to face check like that, but you don't want to go that far forward. In general, you want your infantry in front of your vehicles. And it did cost him a Panzer IV there. And machine gun gonna suppress these engineers. Might even pick them up on the retreat there. That's the advantage of blobbing, right? And again, I'm not ragging on this player. I just think, you know, this is a blob, right? And that's the strength of it, is its ability to wipe squads like this, especially with those light machine guns. These units are extremely lethal. I mean, heck, they're all veteran C3. So, and actually, that was a really nice flank by our German player, managing to find a gap in the Allies' defenses. Heavy machine gun repositioning to deal with it now. And unfortunately for him, not going to be able to pick up this AT gun there. So ultimately, the push didn't do a whole lot other than to distract. Grenadiers thinking about challenging that top side there. Have a machine gun spraying down here, not actually getting any suppressions. And, you know, I think these players have traded heavy machine guns. This is a German unit controlling a U.S. heavy machine gun, and this is a U.S. unit covering a German machine gun. So that was funny to see those two units firing at each other across the no man's land there. From the sound of it, our Wehrmacht player has added on the Nubelwerfer, and he's adding on a second one now. Infantry pushing back in, Sherman coming to help out. Heavy machine gun going to suppress all those units, though. Like to see our players remount this AT gun, but that's okay. Where are these guys going? Oh, they're going here, I see. Very cool seeing people use these forward retreat points. I feel like I don't see players do that enough, at least in team games. Right? I don't think that's something you'd want to do in a single player game, but British player being rather conservative with these Crusaders. Looks like the Allies are comfortable controlling just 2 victory points and sort of waiting for their opponents to make a move. Wouldn't mind seeing them have one or two units a little bit closer just to have an eye on things. I also wouldn't mind seeing them get active on this top side. Again, they don't know this, but there's literally no units over there, and the only way to find out is to send a unit. So, Naval Warfare Barrage coming in here. May end up decrewing these AT guns. Might barely escape, not quite. Let's pick up by the Naval Warfers. Heavy machine guns working together to try and hold it down here. Big grenade might come out here. There it is. US is going to retreat, but not in time, and is going to lose that Browning. Medical half-track in danger here, but the rifleman in position. Thurman helping out. Gonna try and push back all those units down there. Crusaders have grown to 4. And adding on a 5th one now. That is going to be a massive problem for our Germans to deal with. I am 99% sure that one elephant isn't going to cut it. He does have a Panzer III. He does have, I see, 2 AT guns. Yep, but our Wehrmacht player does not have anything just yet. Looks like he's trying to save for the King Tiger. He's about, what is that, a minute away. So we'll see if that King Tiger is in time to face down this inevitable push from our allies here. Looks like they might be thinking about it. Speed up just a little bit here for a moment while things settle out. Another Naval Warfare Barrage here. Casting a lot of smoke so you can go in. Flare going out to reveal the area. And doesn't look like our Germans... Doesn't look like our US players are ready to go. Here they go now, maybe? Yep, both players working together in concert here, pushing in. Naval Warfare Barrage overshooting, unfortunately, for our Germans. Crusaders getting in behind the elephant here. That is a very, very dead elephant. There's just so much going on. I think this is a barrage here. Oh, it's the demoralize. That was a gigantic airstrike from our US player. Crusaders mopping up all over the place. Interestingly enough, I mean, okay, so our teal player got absolutely wiped off the face of the planet just there. But the Wehrmacht player still has quite a bit of units, and he does have a King Tiger on the field. Unfortunately for our Germans, I think it's just too little too late here. British player looking like he wants to chase some units down here. Doesn't know the King Tiger's there, but is actually going to avoid it. AT guns setting up here, getting some more hits on these Crusaders. Naval Warfare's trying to help out. And is going to destroy these Naval Warfares. Maybe. Did pick up the AT gun, might pick up the next Naval Warfare. King Tiger, unfortunately out of position. B-2 rocket strike has been heard. And our British player is going to get out of there. Just barely. Is that guy in range? He is indeed. So picking up one Crusader with that rocket strike. But the vast majority of the high veterancy ones getting out of there. King Tiger peeking its head out of the base here. And I did say that our Wehrmacht player did an okay, came out of that fight okay. But looking at his army composition, he is hurting bad now. US player swarming over this top side, going to pick up all the points. And, yep, I think that's going to be really tough for our players to come back from. I'm going to speed up just a little bit here. German player pushing back in. Base checking with his King Tiger. Base checking with your King Tiger is always a dangerous proposition, right? Despite its massive front armor, you can't do everything alone, despite how it might feel. This Sherman is very, very bold, getting in his opponent's face here. He's going to go down. AT guns chipping away at this King Tiger. Crusaders look like they want to put an end to that Tiger. See if they make that happen. He's going to get in behind here and did wipe that squad. And I think with that, this game is going to be GG. Our German players have 3 points left. Our German players don't have any points and only 15 points left. So, yeah, taking a look at the stats here. Does seem like our U.S. player was a punching bag for his opponent. Both German players relatively equal in terms of their contributions to the game. Yeah, that was a fun little game. I like seeing players work together the way that our allies work together, right? I think it's really cool when you can coordinate like that and support each other across the map. And even in your individual games, I would recommend doing that with your online teammates, even if you don't know them. Sending one squad can make a big difference. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.